Most people think Germany's royal era ended in 1918. They're wrong. Right now, as I stand in the grand halls of Schloss Hohenzollern, I'm surrounded by living history that most travelers never discover. Hidden across Germany are former kingdoms: Bavaria, Saxony, Prussia, Württemberg, each with distinct cultures, traditions, and yes, descendants of royal families who still call these places home. I'm here to show you how these forgotten kingdoms didn't just disappear. They shaped the Germany you see today, and understanding them unlocks an entirely different way to experience this country. From castle estates still owned by noble families to regional rivalries that influence everything from beer to politics, this is Germany beyond the guidebook. Over the next 15 minutes, we're traveling through 5 kingdoms that technically don't exist anymore, but absolutely still matter. And I'll show you exactly how to experience them like the luxury travelers who know this secret. Let's begin where modern Germany was born, but not where you think. We're in Brandenburg, the heartland of what was once the Kingdom of Prussia, the military powerhouse that would eventually unify Germany under its terms. But here's what's fascinating. Prussia was never really German in the Romantic sense. It was efficient, militaristic, Protestant, and absolutely disciplined. And you can still feel that difference the moment you cross into former Prussian territories. Look at Berlin's architecture. Those wide, imposing boulevards weren't designed for charm. They were designed to move troops. The Brandenburg Gate wasn't a symbol of welcome. It was a statement of power. But to really understand Prussian legacy, you need to visit Sanssouci Palace in Potsdam. This was Frederick the Great's summer residence, and unlike Versailles, which it rivaled, Frederick designed it himself, no architects. Just a philosopher king who wrote music, debated with Voltaire, and somehow built one of Europe's most elegant palaces. The Hohenzollern family, Prussia's royal dynasty, lost their official power in 1918, but they never lost their property rights. Today, Georg Friedrich, Prince of Prussia, is engaged in active legal battles with the German government over art and property restitution. The family still holds significant real estate, and their private collections are worth hundreds of millions. When you visit Hohenzollern Castle in southwestern Germany, perched dramatically on a mountaintop, you're not visiting a museum, you're visiting someone's ancestral home. The current prince lives there part-time, and the family archives contain 300,000 documents of European history. Here's how you experience this as a luxury traveler. Private tours can be arranged through select concierge services where you'll access areas closed to the public. I'm talking about the treasury, private chapels, and rooms where Prussian kings actually slept. Pro tip: stay at Hotel de Rome in Berlin, a former bank built on Prussian principles of grandeur. Their rooftop terrace overlooks Bebelplatz, where the Prussian State Opera still performs, maintaining cultural traditions from the royal era. Now we travel south to Bavaria, and everything changes. If Prussia was disciplined, Bavaria is defiance. Even today, Bavarians don't consider themselves simply German. They're Bavarian first. And this isn't just regional pride, it's the echo of a kingdom that existed for over 1,000 years. The Kingdom of Bavaria was officially created in 1806, but the Wittelsbach dynasty that ruled it can trace their lineage back to 1180. That's longer than England's current royal family. Ludwig II, Bavaria's Mad King, is who most people remember, and his fairy tale castles like Neuschwanstein draw millions. But here's what tour buses miss. Ludwig bankrupted Bavaria building these castles because he was trying to preserve a romantic medieval vision of kingship in an era of industrialization and Prussian dominance. He was declared insane and died mysteriously in 1886, found drowned in a shallow lake alongside his psychiatrist. To this day, the exact circumstances remain disputed. But Bavaria's royal legacy isn't just in castles, it's in the beer halls governed by ancient purity laws, in the state constitution that still maintains unique provisions, and in the fact that Bavaria collects its own church taxes differently than other German states. The Wittelsbach family still exists. Franz, Duke of Bavaria, is the current head of the house. He's 91 years old, unmarried with no children, and technically, by Jacobite succession, is considered by some to be the rightful heir to the British throne. Yes, you read that right. The family maintains significant holdings. The Nymphenburg Palace complex in Munich, where they lived, now hosts their private apartments and incredible art collections. The Residence Museum in Munich's city center showcases royal apartments with some of the most opulent Baroque and Rococo interiors in Europe. Here's the luxury experience. Attend a performance at the National Theatre Munich, the Bavarian State Opera. This is where Wagner premiered several operas under Ludwig II's patronage book-a-box seat, the same boxes where royalty once sat. And you're not just watching opera, you're experiencing it as kings did. Then dine at Tantris, a 2-Michelin-star restaurant that elevates Bavarian ingredients with precision Ludwig II would have appreciated. But here's something special few travelers know. The Wittelsbach Compensation Fund manages properties you can actually stay in. Through exclusive booking channels, you can rent hunting lodges and estates, still owned by the family, sleeping in rooms where Bavarian royalty vacationed. Before we continue, if you're finding this fascinating, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It helps others discover these hidden stories, and drop a comment telling me, which German kingdom intrigues you most? I read every single one. Let's head east to Saxony, the kingdom most tourists completely overlook, which is a massive mistake. The Kingdom of Saxony existed from 1806 to 1918, but the Wettin dynasty that ruled it is one of Europe's oldest royal families, dating back to the year 916. Dresden, Saxony's capital, was once called the Florence on the Elbe, a Baroque masterpiece of architecture, art, and culture. Then came February 1945, when Allied bombing raids destroyed about 90% of the city center in one of World War II's most controversial attacks. But here's the remarkable part. Dresden didn't just rebuild, it was reconstructed stone by stone, its royal heritage. The Frauenkirche, the Church of Our Lady, was left as rubble for 50 years as a war memorial, then meticulously rebuilt using original stones and techniques, reopening in 2005. The Residenzschloss, the Royal Palace, now houses the Green Vault, possibly the most spectacular treasure chamber in Europe. We're talking about rooms filled with ivory, amber, jewels, and precious metals collected by Augustus the Strong, Elector of Saxony and King of Poland. Augustus was a larger-than-life figure who allegedly fathered over 300 children, converted to Catholicism to become King of Poland, and once bent horseshoes with his bare hands to impress nobility. His treasury was designed to do the same, overwhelm with wealth and power. The current head of the House of Wettin is Alexander, Prince of Saxe-Gesef. While they don't maintain the same public profile as other former royal families, they're actively involved in preserving Saxony's cultural heritage. For luxury travelers, here's what you need to experience. Book a private after-hours tour of the Green Vault. During regular hours, you shuffle through with crowds after hours with only a small group. You can actually absorb the magnitude of what you're seeing. Rooms that feel like stepping into Aladdin's cave. Stay at the Taschenberg Palais Kempinski, literally built as a palace for Augustus the Strong's mistress, now converted into one of Germany's finest hotels. Your room overlooks the Zwinger Palace courtyard, and you're walking the same marble halls where Saxon royalty conducted affairs of state and heart. Here's the insider experience. Saxony's wine region along the Elbe River is one of Europe's northernmost wine-growing areas, established under royal decree centuries ago. Private vineyard tours can be arranged where you'll taste wines from estates that once supplied the royal court, including some varieties that nearly went extinct and have been revived. Southwest of Württemberg, the kingdom that turned Germany into an automotive empire. The Kingdom of Württemberg existed from 1805 to 1918, ruled by the House of Württemberg. This was always the progressive, industrious kingdom. Less about military might or artistic excess, more about innovation and engineering. And that legacy directly gave us Mercedes-Benz and Porsche. Stuttgart, Württemberg's capital, is where both companies were founded. Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach Developed the first high-speed petrol engine here, Ferdinand Porsche was born in Württemberg territory. This wasn't a coincidence, it was the result of a kingdom that heavily invested in technical education and industrial development. The last king of Württemberg, Wilhelm II, was actually a relatively beloved ruler who resisted German militarization in World War I and maintained decent relations with his subjects. When he abdicated in 1918, it was with less drama than other German monarchs faced. The House of Württemberg still exists, led by Karl, Duke of Württemberg, who is also a successful businessman. The family maintains Althausen Castle and other properties, and they've been actively involved in preserving the region's cultural institutions. But here's what makes Württemberg special for travelers. This kingdom's legacy isn't primarily in palaces, it's in culture and innovation that's still alive. The Stuttgart State Opera is one of the world's finest, and the Stuttgart Ballet is legendary. The region's museums, from the Mercedes-Benz Museum to the Porsche Museum, aren't just car museums, they're monuments to the innovation culture that Royal Württemberg fostered. For the luxury experience, book a private tour at the Mercedes-Benz Museum that includes access to their archive and restoration facilities. You'll see vehicles owned by royalty, including cars custom-built for various European monarchs, along with the engineering workshops where innovation continues. Then stay at Der Zauberlehrling, a boutique hotel in Stuttgart that represents modern Swabian excellence. The restaurant here holds a Michelin star and showcases Württemberg's culinary tradition, which is distinct from Bavarian or Prussian cuisine, more refined, more focused on quality over quantity. Unique experience. The Ludwigsburg Residential Palace just outside Stuttgart is one of Germany's largest Baroque palaces. But what's special is the annual Ludwigsburg Festival, where the palace hosts performances in the same gardens, where Württemberg kings entertain guests attend an evening concert here. And you're experiencing royal entertainment, as it was intended. We need to talk about the kingdoms most people have never even heard of. Before German unification in 1871, the territory we now call Germany was divided into over 300 independent states. By 1871, that had consolidated to 25 states, including 4 kingdoms, 6 grand duchies, 5 duchies, and 7 principalities. Baden, Hesse, Mecklenburg, Oldenburg. These aren't just names on old maps. They're distinct cultural regions with their own traditions, dialects, and aristocratic families who still influence the regions today. Take Baden along the French border. The Grand Duchy of Baden was ruled by the House of Zeringen. While the monarchy ended in 1918, the cultural distinction between Baden and Württemberg is so strong that when they were merged into one German state in 1952, many Badeners still resent it. The Baden wine region produces some of Germany's finest wines, particularly Spätburgunder, Pinot Noir. The tradition of winemaking here was protected and promoted by Grand Ducal decree for centuries. Baden-Baden, the spa town, was the summer capital of Europe in the 19th century. Russian, French, and German nobility came here to take the waters, gamble at the casino, and be seen. The Kurhaus and its casino, designed to rival Monte Carlo, still operate today with the same elegance. For luxury travelers, here's the move. Stay at Brenner's Park Hotel and Spa in Baden-Baden, a 5-star property that's hosted royalty and celebrities since 1872. The spa uses the same thermal waters that drew nobles centuries ago, and the property maintains the refined atmosphere of the Grand Ducal era. Then there's Mecklenburg in northeastern Germany. The Grand Duchy of Mecklenburg-Schwerin was ruled by one of Europe's oldest dynasties. Their territory is now dotted with over 2,000 castles, palaces, and manor houses, more per square mile than almost anywhere in Europe. Many of these have been converted into luxury hotels or can be rented entirely. Imagine staying in a Renaissance hunting lodge, completely alone except for private staff, surrounded by forests where dukes once hunted wild boar. The head of the House of Mecklenburg, Borwin, Duke of Mecklenburg, works actively in heritage preservation and actually serves as a commercial airline pilot. A very modern prince. Here's something remarkable. Through specialized luxury travel companies, you can arrange private visits to castles still owned by these noble families. We're talking about having champagne with a countess in her private drawing room, or dining with a duke in a medieval great hall that's been in his family for 600 years. These aren't tourist experiences, these are personal invitations that require the right connections, which is why working with specialized concierge services or luxury travel advisors who maintain these relationships is essential. If you're watching this and thinking you want to experience Germany at this level, subscribe to the channel. I regularly share insider guides to luxury travel that you won't find anywhere else. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. So why does any of this matter? Because Germany isn't a monolithic country with a single culture. It's a federation of former kingdoms, each with distinct traditions, cuisines, dialects, and ways of seeing the world. When you understand that Berliners and Bavarians don't just have different accents, they're operating from entirely different historical and cultural frameworks, you suddenly understand modern Germany much more deeply. You understand why Bavaria still has its own party, the CSU that only operates in Bavaria. You understand why Saxony's politics differ from Western states. You understand why certain regions are Catholic while others are Protestant. You understand why the beer changes, why the architecture shifts, why people's attitudes toward authority and tradition vary so dramatically. This isn't ancient history. This is living cultural DNA. And for travelers willing to look beyond Munich's Oktoberfest and Berlin's nightclubs, there's an entirely different Germany waiting. One where you can walk through private royal apartments, taste wines from vineyards established by ducal decree, and stay in castles where nobility still resides. The forgotten kingdoms of Germany aren't forgotten at all. They're just hidden from those who don't know how to look. I've traveled to 47 countries, and I can tell you, Germany Understands This Way offers some of Europe's most sophisticated and rewarding luxury travel experiences. It's just not the Germany most people are selling you. So here's my question to you. Would you rather see Germany as a tourist, or experience it as these kingdoms were meant to be experienced, with access, context, and the kind of depth that turns travel into transformation? If it's the latter, you now know where to start. Before you go, like this video if you learned something new. Comment below and tell me which of these kingdoms you'd visit first. And subscribe because I'm taking you deeper into Europe's hidden luxury destinations that typical travel channels never cover. The Forgotten Kingdoms are calling. Will you answer?